The rookie camps are over with, but there's still some players we need to talk about. We're going back to the San Francisco 49ers, and we're going to look at Ricky Pearsall again. There's a new batch of clips that emerged. They've been out for a bit, but I discovered them. I've covered some of these clips from different angles, from different beat writers, but we're going to go over these today. We're going to talk about Ricky Pearsall because I want to talk about Ricky Pearsall, and I found these clips, and I think it's a good idea to do. Before we do, though, you need to click that subscribe button right now because we're covering these rookies extensively. We're covering them for fantasy football. We're looking at these clips. We're covering OTAs, mini camps, training camps, of course, rookie camps because that's heavy on the channel right now. We're covering the veterans too, your favorite players. Click that button. Stop missing out because I'm trying to find that hard-to-find stuff so you can see your players. Ricky Pearsall. So, like we always do, we'll run through the clips first, and then we'll talk about them extensively. But here we go. The feet. The feet is a lot different. We just covered Tariq Owens. That should be posted on the channel. Look at his feet versus his feet. You'll see a big difference. I try to stay positive about Owens because he's a UDFA player. There's a difference from a player like this and a player like that. This guy starts on a dime, starts back up instantly, fires fast. That's it. Ricky Pearsall got a lot to say about him, and I always do. I feel like I can talk about Ricky Pearsall for hours every day. He was like one of my guys during the process going up to the draft. Then it became cool, so I was like, I'll let you guys be cool with it, and I'll talk about other players. And then he got drafted in the first round. I was thinking he'd be drafted somewhere in the second. I think a lot of people were thinking that too. But then I started thinking about it, and if you've been following the channel, you know I made some videos on it that when I think about this offense and how they build their wide receiver depth chart, he's the type of wide receiver they want to go after. A guy that's very aggressive getting in and out of his breaks. A guy that's very aggressive after the catch. The guy that's very aggressive at the catch points. They want players that are aggressive at all those phases. Think about Brandon Aiyuk. Think about Deebo Samuel. Not comparisons because you're not comparing those two players either. It's just the mentality and how you play the game. He's also a player that has gotten better throughout his career. He's a workout warrior. He works hard. He's one of those guys that is going to get better. He's going to learn the offense fast. He's a technician. He sells routes well. If you're watching college football or if you're watching it and scrolling Twitter at the same time, you know social media stopped a good bit of times last year because he was making highlight reel grabs, and he'll do that. He's very strong at the catch point. He's got good concentration. He's got very sticky hands. Very fast feet, breaks on a dime. Like we're seeing here, he does it on the field. His money started to stack up at the Senior Bowl because he proved that he's a very aggressive. He can break off routes. He's also proven that he's a technician. He was getting more notoriety. He had a weird career at college. I'll definitely say that. Part of it's the COVID era. Part of it's the transfer. And Jaden Daniels also made that transfer as well. Those players were leaving. Then we go to Florida. Low volume passing game. Anthony Richardson there, but he was getting yards. He was owning a large percentage, a large market share of the passing production there. And then last year, kind of stepped it up too in production when you look at it from a market share standpoint. So we do have some production there to his name. He is an older wide receiver prospect. His career started off a little slow, but it was just a weird start. But you can definitely say that for a lot of players that looked good on tape, that had weird starts that didn't hit. But again, first round wide receiver, fits well with the mentality of this team and how they want to build the depth chart. From a functionality standpoint, I can see why the Niners selected him. If you're looking at him for fantasy football, there's a lot of things I can say. Redraft, you're not really drafting him. I mean, you got Deebo and Aiyuk there. So the targets, the flow of targets, it's really got to have something happen to the offense for that to happen, especially with Kittle there. There's just too many wide receivers and not enough targets there. That being said, if something happens, you're looking at him off the waiver wire mid-season. Dynasty is where the big discussion is because the market did not like his production, his age, coming out of college. He gets drafted in the first round. The market doesn't like it, so he falls in the draft a little bit in rookie draft, so he's going somewhere around the middle of the second round. Sometimes you catch him in some drafts going late first round. If you look at a lot of drafts, you'll notice that over time. The thing about that since the market doesn't like it, you just catch him at the discount. He's going at the same price he was going as a second rounder when we were thinking that going out through the process. So he's a good discount there. And since he's fallen to you at such a value in the draft, people are still drafting him anyways, even though they were complaining about the prospect profile because the market's pushing him down. Somewhere around middle of the second round. Sometimes he goes earlier, sometimes he goes later, sometimes he goes in the first. Really depends. And when I say first, like 112, 111 range, a little bit earlier sometimes, depends on who you're drafting with. Middle of second is really the sweet spots. Prior to the draft, it was like middle of second, late second. That's really where it's going in a lot of drafts right now. So honestly, you're getting a first round wide receiver at like a second or third round wide receiver price tag. And the odds of him hitting is a little bit higher now because we know he's going to get opportunities to see targets, his opportunities to fail and succeed, which is great for Dynasty. And the hit rate's a little bit higher considering he's now a first-round pick, really because he's going to get more chances. That's why. He's going to get more opportunities. They got more sunk costs invested in him. When you look at him as a player, breaks off routes good hands, strong hands, very assertive, very aggressive. Niners fans, you got a wide receiver here that fits your scheme. If something happens when you got to make those decisions with those wide receivers, with their contracts later on down the road, you got a wide receiver there. Also, you got 3 good ones now. You can put them in the slot. You can move them around. You got Aiyuk. You got Deebo. If injuries happens, you're not going to miss a beat. Well, you shouldn't. Well, you'll miss less of a beat at least. And you got Pearsall there. You got a good route runner. He should develop quickly to your scheme because he's a nuanced wide receiver who has only improved throughout his career and has gotten better. And that's one thing people like to talk about. The upsides there. They really like him. He fits well with the team. He fits well. If you're a Niners fan, you should like this player because out of all the other wide receivers, most of them behind him, second round grades, third round grades, same as him. And they just picked the guy they felt fit the best for their scheme. Fantasy, little bit different story. But since the market pushed him down a little bit, you're still getting him at the same price tag if he would have been drafting the second round, early third round. You're still kind of getting that. So it is what it is. It's where he goes in the draft and who's on the board when you're drafting him. That's the story that you're going to have to look at. When you're on the clock, you're looking at Ricky Pearsall. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Make sure to hit that subscribe button on the way out. I want to thank you for watching. Catch you on the next video.